In the Mass, ano yung unang-unang sinasabi ng deacon? Sino makakasagot niyan? Ano yung unang-unang sinasabi niya? Ha? Pagkatapos ng please stand. What? Ano yung sinasabi niya? Jesus said, the first commandment is this. Ano yun? You should love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, all your mind, and with all your strength. Second is like it, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. Yun yung sagot ni Jesus sa tanong na, ano ba yung pinaka dakilang utos? And He gave what we call the summary of the law. Kasi in 10 Commandments, like we always say here, in 10 Commandments, dalawang bahagi yan. Yung unang 4, tungkol sa relasyon natin sa Panginoon. Or, in one word, worship, pagsamba. Yung sumunod na 6, yung relasyon natin sa kapwa natin. Or, in one word, justice. Love the Lord your God, love your neighbor as yourself. 2 months ago, in August, we had a convocation, and our theme was, ano nga ba yung theme natin? Kinakanta yun pagkatapos ng misa natin. Ano yung? Go forth. And our direction was mission. We have a mission to fulfill. Gustong-gusto ko yung isang kanta, yung title ng isang kanta, na, well, yung linya pala, ng isang kanta na sinasabi, to love the Lord our God is the heartbeat of our mission. Mission natin, nagsisimula sa pagmamahal sa Panginoon, at sinabi ni Jesus, yung pangalawang utos, na katulad niyan ay mahalin din natin yung kapwa natin. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. Sabi ng isang tao, ang ganda nung sinabi niya yan, yung pag-ibig sa Diyos, merong echo, bakit may echo? Yung pag-ibig sa Diyos, isang araw daw, magiging ano na lang yan, hindi na utos. It will no longer be a command, it will be a prophecy fulfilled. Isang araw daw, yung pag-ibig sa Diyos, hindi na magiging utos, kundi magiging kaganapan ng hula, ng prophecy. Bakit? Kasi magiging natural na sa atin ang pag-ibig sa Diyos at pag-ibig sa kapwa natin. We will be a loving people, not merely a people with a duty or a responsibility to love. It will be part of our DNA, loving God and our nature. Being our nature, not just a decision we make or have to make. Naintindihan niyo ba yung gusto kong sabihin? Hindi na lang magiging utos, hindi lang magiging isang bagay na kailangan natin gawin, kundi isang bagay na bahagi na ng kalikasan natin. Magiging mapagmahal tayo, hindi lang tao na kailangan na magmahal. Very big difference. It will, see, it's very difficult. Napakahirap po. It's very difficult to get people with free will, with freedom to choose, to do what you want them to do or to do what is right. Napakahirap. Kasi, hindi mo sila mapipilit eh. May sarili silang, kalayaan na sumunod sa'yo o hindi. Isipin ninyo yan, gumawa ang Panginoon ng tao at binigyan niya ng kalayaan na mag-decide para sa sarili nila. Pwede nila siyang suwayin at ginawa na nga. Hindi ba? Kasi pag ang ginawa ng Panginoon tayo mga robot lang, hindi tayo magiging katulad niya, hindi tayo nilikha sa wangis niya. Kasi ang wangis niya, ang kalikasan niya, natural na umiibig. Hindi programmed na parang computer o printer Ang printer, ang piprint lang niya, kung ano yung sinabi mo sa kanyang iprint. Hindi niya pwedeng sabihin, ayoko nga. Hindi pwede. Hindi ganun ang pagkakagawa sa kanya. Sa atin, ang pagkakagawa, pwede tayong humindi sa Panginoon. Dahil kung ang utos niya ay ibigin natin ang kapwa natin, pero para tayong mga robot, hindi talagang pag-ibig yun. Hindi tunay na pag-ibig yun. It's difficult to get people with free will to do what is right. You see, tinuro sa akin to, no, sa eskwelahan, sa McDonald's, sa isang seminar, na narinig ko tong katuruan na to. Ang sinabi nila, a good manager is one who gets people to do what needs to be done and to get them to want to do it. Intindihan nyo? Ang magaling na na tagapangasiwa na manager yung kaya niyang hindi lang utusan kaya niyang pagawin yung mga tao ng kailangan nilang gawin at hindi lang mapipilitan sumunod kundi gusto nilang gawin. Yung gusto niyang ipagawa. Ang hirap nun. Ang hirap nun, hindi ba? Kayong mga magulang, alam ninyo yan, pag inutusan niyo yung anak ninyo, maglinis ka nga, paano sila sumusunod? Minsan padabog, hindi ba? Minsan kung ano-anong sinasabi, pambihira, nanahimik ang tao dito, okay, nagko-computer ako, nanonood ako ng, kung iistorbohin ako, kailangan ko pa maglinis. You know, things like that. A good manager is one who can get people to do what needs to be done and to get them to want to do it. How? Not by force, kundi pag-inspire, pag-impluensya sa kanila. Pagpapakita ka sa kanila ng kagandahan nung magiging resulta nung pagsunod nila sa utos. Yung maipapakita na, alam mo, pag nilinis mo yung bahay, maganda yung itsura niyan kaysa dun sa makalat. That's a good manager. Do you think God is a good manager? Ang ganda ng collect natin kanina, sabi, Mighty and everlasting God, increase in us the gifts of faith, hope, and charity, and so that we may obtain what you promise. Para makamit namin ang iyong mga pangako, make us love what you command. Hindi lang make us obey what you command, make us love, make us want to do, make us want to obey what you command. And mind you, I want to clarify this. Sabi dito, para namin makamit ang mga pangako mo, make us want to do what you command. Hindi ito kondisyon para makamit natin ang pangako niya. Kundi ito ay direksyon para makamit natin ang pangako niya. Napakalaking diferensya. Hindi kondisyon, hindi yung, pag hindi ka sumunod, hindi ko ibibigay yung pangako ko. Hindi. Pag nasumpungan mo yung tamang daan, tamang direksyon, makakamit mo. Ang gusto kong makamit mo, which is my promises to you. Parang yung binanggit ko nga, yung linis, isang araw, maintindihan ng mga anak natin na bata pa siguro ngayon, nagdadabog pa, pag pinapalinis natin, isang araw, pag may sarili na silang bahay, gugustuhin nilang linisin yung sarili nilang bahay. Tama? Yung nahihirapan kayong mga bata ngayon na pakainin ng gulay, isang araw, hindi mo na kailangan pilitin. Gusto na nila ng gulay. Kasi alam nila, makakabuti sa akin to, at siguro matututunan na rin nilang mahalin yung lasa. But one day, it will not be forced anymore. It will be a desire on our part. Maybe it's a command in the beginning, but it will be fullness of divine nature in us eventually. And the more we see this, the more we realize it's not about law. It's about love. It's not about law, it's about love. Yung security natin, dun sa pagkakaalam natin na mahal tayo ng Diyos at inaalagaan niya tayo, yung nakuha nating security dun, yun ang mag-uudyok sa atin na sumunod sa kanyang utos na magmahal din. Kung naintindihan natin, hey, God loves me. God provides for me. And so, I have the freedom and the ability to bless others also. Kung hindi ka secure, kung sa tingin mo, ay, mauubusan ako pag nagbigay ako hindi ka talaga magbibigay. Pero kung secure ka, alam mo, sigurado ka, kumbinsido ka, na aalagaan ako ng Panginoon. Hindi ko kailangan maging maramot. Kung alam natin yon, hindi tayo mahihirapang magbigay. Hindi tayo mahihirapang magmahal. Tayo mahihirapang umibig. It will cause us to also love. Not the threat or the fear of consequences, but our own desire to also love like our God. That's what will compel us. What will drive us to also love. But just to clarify, God not forcing us doesn't mean we don't have to do what He commands. Tindihan ba natin yun? Dahil hindi tayo pinipilit ng Panginoon, hindi ibig sabihin nun, hindi na tayo kailangan sumunod. Yung utos nandun pa rin. Pero ayaw niya tayong pilitin, gusto niya gawin natin ng voluntaryo. Meron akong BFF. Alam mo BFF, di ba? Best friend forever. Dapat forever pero hindi Minsan gano'n. No? May BFF ako nung single ako. And they moved to another country. Tapos a few years after that, ikakasal na ako. Inimbitahan ko siya, sabi ko, huwag kang mawawala dito. Gusto ko na maging best man At sinabi ko sa kanya, ito yung sinabi ko, natatandaan ko yung sinabi ko sa kanya huwag kang pumunta ng napipilitan. Pero hindi ibig sabihin nun, hindi na niya kailangan pumunta. Ang sinabi ko sa kanya, huwag kang pumunta ng napipilitan, pumunta ka pa rin ng hindi napipilitan. Hindi na niya may diferensya? Hindi ibig sabihin nun, huwag kang pumunta kung hindi ka napipilitan. Hindi ibig sabihin nun, ayoko nang pumunta ka. Hindi, gusto kong pumunta ka. Ayoko lang napipilitan ka. Understand that? The standard remains. The command to love remains. That should be done. That must be done. But it must not be done by being forced. It must be done with our whole heart. And loving by nature doesn't mean it will be easy. It will be fulfilling, but it will not necessarily be easy because it often comes with a price. Ang pagmamahal, palaging may price yan. But the joy that we derive from it will be more than worth the price. We've always defined love as desiring and pursuing the good of another at cost to myself. Palaging merong presyo na babayaran. See, true obedience is done in a spirit of love, not just mere compliance. Binanggit natin kanina, may mga sumusunod sa utos, pero padabog. May mga sumusunod sa utos, dahil ang motibo, gustong kumita. Ganon yung mga empleyado Susunod sa boss, kahit ayaw nilang gawin, gagawin nila. Bakit? Gusto nilang magsumweldo Sa religion naman, minsan ginagawa yung ibang bagay ng mga reliyoso para rin merong kapalit. Gusto ko, marami kong point sa langit pagdating ko doon Not just purely by wanting to do good to another with no strings attached. Yun ang gusto ni Lord. Kasi yun yung kanyang kalikasan. Gusto niya maging ganun tayo. Remember the rich young ruler? Na pumunta kay Jesus, sabi niya, Panginoon, paano ko ba makakamtan ang buhay na walang hanggan? Sabi ni Jesus, you know the commandments. Obey them. Sabi nung tao, I have obeyed them from my youth on. At sabi ni Jesus sa kanya, okay, sige, ibenta mo lahat ng kaari-arian mo at magbigay ka sa mahihirap. See, maybe he complied with the commandments, but maybe he did not really obey the spirit of the commandment. The difference was maybe he followed what he was told to do, but maybe he did it without love. And St. Paul says, you can speak in tongues, you can have all knowledge, you can have all wisdom, you can give your body to be burned, give all your possessions to the poor, and you can do it without love. And if that's the way you did it, it all amounts to nothing. Nag-aksaya ka lang ng panahon at ng effort. Sayang. Kasi sa mata ng Diyos, baliwala. We need to be careful and check our motives. Because sometimes we serve the needy, but we serve them without love. Ginagawa lang natin, siguro galit pa tayo. Siguro makakita na kayo sa internet ng mga caregivers, supposed to be caregivers. Pero parang, di ba, parang ang trato nila dun sa inaalagaan nila, parang hindi tao. But they're just doing a job to earn a salary. They don't really care. They don't really give care. They earn a salary. Because the same good deed can be employment or an act of love. Understand that? Pakita nga natin sa screen yun. The same good deed can be employment or merely employment or a genuine act of love. Duty or ministry. Very big difference. See, the difference is being voluntary. Not, sa English nga, medyo mabigat no, not perfunctorily. Hindi yung parang robot, parang napipilitan lang. Wag daw tayo, sabi nga nung psalmist, wag daw tayo maging parang yung buriko, a donkey or a mule, which have no understanding and must be controlled by bit and bridle before they obey. Wag daw tayong parang kabayo na hindi gagalaw, hindi tatakbo, hanggang hindi nila latigo. Dapat hindi. Gawin natin to dahil kailangan eh. Wala nang kailangan tumulak sa akin, wala nang kailangan maglatigo sa akin, gagawin ko to. Kasi ito yung tama. Ito yung utos ng Panginoon. If we are prompted, if we are forced, if we are pushed to do good, it involves less or no love. Mga asawang lalaki, pag sinabi sa inyo ng asawa ninyo, pag kailangan pang sabihin ng asawa ninyo, i-date mo naman ako. 10 taon na tayong kasal, di pa tayo nanonood ng sine. Di ba? O kaya, nakakasampung birthday na ako, ibili mo naman ako ng cake paminsan-minsan o ng regalo. Pag sinabi pa na yun, saka ka sumunod, hindi pag-ibig yun, hindi ba? Ang maganda, hindi niya sinasabi sa'yo, sinusurprise mo. Tapos hindi mo pa sasabihin kung ganong kamahal at siguro, wag niyo naman siguro gawin to, pero siguro pinangutang mo pa yung pangbili mo ng regalo dahil gusto mo siyang matuwa. Nang hindi pinipilit ng kahit sino. Understand the difference? Because there's a very big difference. God said, this is what God said. Nobody told him to do this. This is what he said, an act of love. Let us make man in our image. He didn't have to make man. Solved na siya. He was self-sufficient. But because he wants to share his love, he wants there to be human beings to be recipients of his love, He said, let us make man in our image. Walang nagsabi sa kanya na anghel o kahit sino man. He voluntarily did it. Again, sometimes, even to our own hurt. Ganun yung ginawa ni Lord eh. Nagmagandang loob na siya, gumawa ng tao, sinuway pa siya. Sometimes, nagmamagandang loob na tayo pa yung masama, hindi ba? Parang sinabi ng psalmist, sabi niya, in return for my love, they act as my accusers. What does he do? But I, sabi ng psalmist, but I am in prayer. I pray for them. Nagmagandang loob ako sa kanila, sinuklian nila ng kasamaan, I still pray for them. Parang sinabi ni Jesus, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, pray for those who mistreat you. About 15 years ago or so, I was in a prison facility, and I saw in their office, I saw something that I saw for the first time. Caught my attention. It's a poem, tula, a poem attributed to Mother Teresa. Hindi daw sila sigurado, pero mukhang siya daw nagsulat. Doesn't matter, the content of the poem is very good. And I want you to see it. Ito yung sinasabi. Saint Teresa na pala si Mother Teresa ngayon. People are often unreasonable, irrational, and people minsan nawawala. Ayan. And self-centered. Forgive them anyway. Ang tawag dito sa poem na to, anyway, the anyway poem. Forgive them anyway. If you're kind, people may accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Nangyari na ba sa inyo yan? Be kind anyway. If you're successful, you win some unfaithful friends and some genuine enemies. Succeed anyway. If you're honest and sincere, people may deceive you. Be honest and sincere anyway. What you spend years creating, others could destroy overnight. Create anyway. You find serenity and happiness, some may be jealous. Be happy anyway. Don't worry, be happy. The good you do today will often be forgotten. Do good anyway. Give the best you have. It will never be enough for some people. Give your best anyway. Itong huling line, hindi ako masyadong agree, no? Pero let me just read it. In the final analysis, it is between you and God. It was never between you and them anyway. Hindi ako masyadong komportable sa huli, no? Pero kasi, ang sabi ni Jesus, no, it's also between you and people. Because you are to love God and your neighbor as well. It will also be between us. Our relationship is not just with God, it's also with people. Remember, worship and justice. We relate to God, we relate to people. How? In love, with love. Again, if we are aware of the sufficiency and the abundance of God's love toward us, then we will be secure enough to obey His command to love Him and our neighbor as ourselves. Kaya nga sabi ni David the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Wala na akong hihilingin pa. Hindi ko na kailangan mag-panic buying, mag-hoard sa sarili ko. Hindi ko na kailangan yun. The Lord is my shepherd. Inaalagaan niya ako Secure ako The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. And that security, that commitment, is what drives me, causes me to also bless others, to also love others. And if we're that content and if we're that secure, sabi ni St. Paul kay Timothy, then that kind of godliness is great gain. Great gain. As opposed to if you don't love, even if you do good, but if you don't have love, it profits you nothing. St. Paul says, godliness with contentment is very profitable. Very profitable. So let us realize we are loved. And loving others would be easier until one day it will be just our divine nature, the divine nature of God fully operational in us. Because that's the way it is in the kingdom of our God.